Anne-Marie from brambleberry.com, and today I'm here with a lip care video. It's a 3-for-1, meaning I'm going to show you how to make lip balm in tubes and in little pots, a lip scrub to keep your lips scrumptiously smooth, and also a lip mask. Now, you may have seen these lip masks for as much as $27 an ounce. Ours is less than $3.75 an ounce. So I hope you love it. Stay tuned and tell me which one you like best below in the comments. Let's talk about some of the essential ingredients whenever you're making your own lip products at home. One, you might be tempted to use like baking extracts. Don't do that. One, they don't really taste all that good on the lips. And two, they're not usually oil soluble. They're usually made of an alcohol extract, which doesn't mix into a wax and oil combination. You always want to use a lip-safe flavor oil. Lip-safe flavor oils have been specially formulated so that if you end up eating any of this on accident, you know, like when you're literally eating and a little bit gets on your food and gets down your throat, well, this is safe to get just a little bit down your throat, as opposed to, say, a fragrance oil, which is designed to be rinsed off or left on the skin, but not eaten. So always use a flavor oil designed for lip products whenever making lip products. For today's project, I'm using 3 of Brambleberry's most popular flavor oils, a vanilla mint, a passion fruit rose, and a lavender lemonade. These are 3 of our most popular flavor oils, and they're all fantastic and interchangeable in all 3 of these projects. There are 2 ways to go about making a lip product. One, you can use a pre-made base. Brambleberry has 3 different pre-made bases: a hemp lip balm base, a lip balm basic base, and then a cocoa olive lip balm base. Today we're going to be using Brambleberry's lip balm base for our first project, just to show you how easy it is to literally melt and pour a lip balm formula that's been fully designed and blended to really create a moisturizing and conditioning base for your lips. You can also use products from scratch, meaning you can make up your very own recipe. The next 2 projects after this, we've made up the recipe for you, so you get a perfect lip balm product every single time. So for our very first project, we're going to be using the Brambleberry Lip Balm Base. The 4-ounce size comes in this nice, awesome container. The 16-ounce size comes in the Brambleberry remeltable bags, so keep that in mind when you're ordering it. I love working with remeltable bags because it does make it really easy and saves a step like what I'm doing right now, which is getting my 2 ounces out. I'm going to start with exactly 2 ounces, which is just about half this jar. And then I'm going to melt it down in the microwave. So you notice that I have a fully sterilized container, and it is also a heat-safe container, and that's what I'm going to be melting it down with. Now I'm just going to melt this in the microwave on 30-second bursts. You could use a water bath as well for this, but I find the microwave to be just a little faster for this one. Now that our 2 ounces is melted, it's time to choose the flavor oil. I'm going to be using the Brambleberry Vanilla Mint, and I think this is great just as it is. Brambleberry does carry a lip smacking sweetener to add just a little bit of sweetness to the lip balm as well. You use 1 to 3 milliliters in 2 ounces of base, just kind of depending on your personal preferences. One other thing to note is that if you are making this product to sell, you're going to want to be using good manufacturing practices, which means having your hair back, a hairnet on, and wearing gloves as well, and working in a clean kitchen environment. I like to stir for between 30 and 60 seconds to make sure that flavor oil is fully mixed in. After all, if it's not mixed in, the flavor oil just comes to the very tops of your containers, and then it'll come out as like little beady oil droplets. So you want that fully incorporated in. And now it's time to pour. I like to pour my smaller containers freehand. If you find yourself with a shaky hand, you can always fill these up using disposable pipettes. I also like to only fill them up to the very top of the little tiny round pump mechanism, because I'm gonna have to put a whole nother layer on these, because when they harden, they kind of sink in the middle. So I just plan for that ahead of time. And then I'm gonna fill in some of my divots here, and then we will move on to the next project. Let's move on to our lip scrub. So why use a lip scrub? Well, if you have chapped lips, sometimes it's really nice to just gently scrub away at those chapped lips to get them to be nice and smooth and baby soft, and then apply your lip mask. In this case, we're using granulated sugar for a couple reasons. One, it's food grade, and 2, granulated sugar has a beautiful kind of rounded consistency. There's no sharp edges that will hurt delicate skin or your chapped lips. So this recipe is a from scratch recipe, and like I said, we're going to be using granulated sugar. For our liquid oil, we're gonna be using rosehip seed oil. This is a very lightweight, delicate oil that is fantastic on sensitive skin. It's high in antioxidants and it absorbs in readily, helping to leave your lips feeling soft, supple, smooth, and conditioned. It does not have any scent to it, making it a fantastic addition to this particular project. Then we'll be using coconut oil. This is 76-degree melt point coconut oil. It is solid at room temperature. It provides an emollient quality, which basically means it provides a beautiful moisture barrier. So even after you rinse off this lip scrub, this will help leave your lips feeling conditioned and moisturized. And the final oil ingredient is cocoa butter. I like to use this in place of cocoa butter right now, especially with the sky-high prices of cocoa butter. This comes from India, and it is a very hard butter, very emollient and moisturizing and conditioning, and it helps give a nice seal of moisture to the lips. Finally, I'm just gonna have a little tiny bit of color, mostly just for fun. So, in order to make this, we always do weight. So first things first, we're gonna weigh out all of our oils, and then once they are melted in the microwave, we will go ahead and add in our sugar and then move very quickly. So here I have my bleached glass. And again, a reminder, if you're making this to sell, you're gonna want your hairnet on, you're gonna want your gloves on, you're gonna be working in a clean kitchen environment. Recipe for this is below, but I'm doing 1.5 ounces of coconut oil by weight, because weight versus volume, it matters a lot when it comes to cosmetic chemistry. And I'll be doing 0.3 ounces of our rosehip seed oil, that beautiful, lightweight, moisturizing, skin-loving, antioxidant-rich oil. And then I'm gonna be doing 0.5 ounces of our cocoa butter. And this one, it's interesting. It's kind of you can break it, kind of like cocoa butter. Like I said, it's an excellent substitute. Oh, that was right on the money. 0.49. Excellent. Now I'm going to melt this in 15-second bursts, and while that is happening, I'm going to weigh out my 4.5 ounces of granulated sugar, because once this is melted, we work really, really quickly. So for this project, I'm going to be using the passion fruit rose, and I'm going to be putting in my flavor oil first and then my colorant as well, because I want to make sure that my colorant gets fully mixed in. If I try and put my colorant in after I put the sugar in, it is not going to get fully mixed in. So flavor oil first, stir it for at least 30 seconds, put your colorant in, stir that as well. And with the colorant, what you're really just trying to get is kind of a very light tint. And so I did 1/4 teaspoon of this mica for the entire batch, because we're gonna be adding this full 4.5 ounces of sugar. So that's really gonna pastel up this entire lip scrub recipe. So I have mixed now. I'm very certain my flavor oil is fully incorporated in. Again, if you wanted this to be a little sweeter, you'd add some Brambleberry lip smacking sweetener, which is an additional additive flavor product. And now I'm gonna add in my sugar, and then I'm working really quickly. Like, I cannot even emphasize how quickly you work. You work so fast once this is in. You can glop, you can try and pour, but it starts to harden pretty quickly. So you just want to glop it in, and then you will end up starting to do some sort of spooning in. Don't worry, it's not you. It is just the nature of this particular project. And if you do find yourself with just a complete hard mess, what I like to do is use a larger container. I don't actually like to remelt this, because the sugar granules can go just a little bit kind of wonky on you and turn into liquid sugar almost, and not the granules that you're looking for to do a scrub. So I'm gonna let these harden up, and then I'll just clean them off. No big deal, because I am making a little bit of a mess here. But once they harden up, you'll notice that they turn into a beautiful pastel, and then we'll be able to also even up those tops, because I went a little bit too high on this one for it to close. And finally, my very favorite project. We were inspired by a very expensive lip mask that many of you probably know, Laneige. It's about $27 for 0.7 ounces, and we were like, I think we can create something pretty close to that that's a fraction of the cost. So our creation of this popular lip mask uses jojoba oil. Jojoba oil is really interesting. It's actually a liquid wax, and it has properties that are very similar to our own natural skin. And because it's a natural wax, it also has that long-lasting ability to seal in moisture. also using castor oil. Castor oil is a really interesting ingredient. It is a thick oil that has a lot of emollient properties, meaning it's very conditioning, very moisturizing, very nourishing to the lips. Aloe butter. Aloe butter is nourishing, moisturizing, and also calming and soothing on your lips. Beeswax, this helps to harden the product and lock in the moisture. And finally, cerebellina wax, which is a fancy way to say modified beeswax. What this does is it helps to give this particular lip mask its kind of light and fluffy feel, while all the rest of the ingredients help to lock in the moisture, keep in the conditioning, and have your lips just baby smooth by morning. For this project, we're going to be using the Brambleberry frosted glass jars. This is a 2-ounce jar, so it does make a hefty amount of the lip mask, but if you're using it every day, you'll find that a little bit goes a long way, and you'll soon be to the end of this container because you are going to love it that much. Because of the delicate nature of these ingredients, we've opted to do this in a hot water bath. You could microwave it. It's interesting. I find that the aloe butter and the cerebellina both do so much better when they're melted slowly. And so I like to do it in a hot water bath for a more gentle melt. So for this recipe, like all cosmetic recipes, we are going to be using weight. And if you were selling this, hairnets and gloves, I'm going to be using 4 full ounces of castor oil, and you can see just how thick that is. Imagine how emollient that is on your lips, how just absolutely good it is to sealing in. Make sure you get all of the product out of the container because it does, since it's really thick, it does want to sit there for a bit. So if you're finding that, you can always just cap this and leave it on its little head like this, and then get the rest of it out in a minute. And then we're going to be doing 4 ounces of jojoba oil. And the jojoba oil is a beautiful yellow color, very light in consistency. Then we're going to be doing 4 ounces of our aloe butter. And since all of this is going in our hot water bath, we don't have to worry about this melting too quickly and having the bonds break apart, similar to how table butter, when it melts and you're like, well, this is now never going back together. Butters are very similar to that. So I'm going to get the rest of this thick castor oil out before I move into my aloe. Yeah, there was a full 0.15 sitting in there. That is insane. Make sure you are weighing out, make sure you get all the last little drips of this out because it is so thick. All right, now we're gonna do 4 ounces of our aloe butter. And remember, you can put more in, you can't really take it out, so you go for less than you think you need. That was just 3.1, not 3.56. So just less than you think you need because you can't really take it out once it's in this kind of wet, moist environment. And then finally we have our beeswax and our cerebellina. Beeswax is 0.7 ounces and our cerebellina is 1.4 ounces. And once this is all measured in here, then I'm gonna put this in the hot water bath. Now I have everything in here and I'm just gonna be putting this directly into my hot water bath. I do not ever leave a hot water bath unattended. We never want it to boil over. We certainly don't want the waxes and the oils to boil over. So I'm just gonna keep myself busy in the kitchen and clean. We are all melted up and I just wanna make sure that you at home are being extra safe. So I've grabbed myself a little hot rag here just to make sure that in case this is hot, I don't end up accidentally scorching myself. It is a little hot, so there we go. Now we're gonna be adding our flavor oil, and I am using the Lavender Lemonade from Brambleberry. This is quite a lot more than our previous batches were, so I will be using quite a lot more. I'm gonna be doing 6 to 9 milliliters of this flavor oil, and I love how herbaceous and fresh this is. Then I'm gonna add my colorant. And again, we just really want kind of a light pink color. If you want it to stain your lips just a little, of course you can use more. So I've got my mica in there and it's a lip safe mica. I've got my flavor oil in there and then I'm just stirring and I'll stir for 30 seconds to make sure that flavor oil is fully incorporated and then it'll be time to pour. And then we can cap these as soon as they've cooled down. Now that my color and my flavor is fully incorporated in, it's time to pour, and these are pretty wide mouth, so they're pretty easy just to freehand pour. So I like to pour just up to that lip and set aside, and then let these harden and cool. Then you can cap them, give them away, use them right away, no curing time needed, and you have a supple, luscious overnight lip mask that is a duplication of the beautiful, famous lip mask that everybody raves about, with a more simple, more natural ingredient list. Thanks so much for watching today's video on how to make lip products from scratch and using Brambleberry's Lip Balm Base. I hope you learned something new. And if you have an idea for a video you'd like to see, leave it in the comments below. We'd love to make something that you want to learn. When you're making products at home, hashtag it BrambleOn so we can all get excited and inspired by what you make. And until next time, everyone, happy crafting.